Hello, my name is Rodney with k9signs.net. Like, subscribe, all of the YouTube things. Ring the bell. In this video, I will be teaching you how to listen to your dog. I'll be teaching a lot about reading and reacting in the future videos, so being able to read is very important. But first, recap. Rule number 1. Do not beat your dog. Do not punch your dog. Do not kick your dog. Nothing I will be teaching is fear-based. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Moving on. One of the things that's very important to understand about dogs is leadership. Okay? For a dog, every situation requires a leader. Right? And if there is no leadership, then they volunteer or they get very antsy about the situation not being resolved. So let me explain. So if you're leading in the kitchen, it doesn't mean you're leading in the living room, right? If you're leading while feeding, it doesn't mean you're leading in the hallway. If you're leading in the backyard, it doesn't mean you're leading in the front yard. It doesn't mean you're leading on a walk. You have to exude leadership at all times. And if you don't, and you acquiesce to them leading, what that does is it opens up an entire set of behaviors that your dog thinks that they can do to get you to change your behavior and follow them. That's right, they will try to lead you. Those behaviors include increasingly forceful nipping, they just don't stop, starts to hurt. Maybe increasingly forceful pawing, they might run in a circle around you, just be completely unsettled the entire time. They might headbutt you, like nose you to the face, headbutt you to the face, might run into you with their body. All of those types of things are behaviors they do when they're trying to lead you. All right, now, next video is a plan and a pattern that makes sense to a dog so that way you can lead them. Next video. All right, but this video, I'm going to teach you how to listen and what these things kind of mean. So, in order for your dog to get into follower mode, you have to lead them. Now, I talked about acquiescing. It's like, when did I acquiesce, Rodney? So, acquiescing for a dog, all right, they handshake you when they meet you, or they meet anybody, really. And what that looks like is your dog coming up to you, 2 paws on your body, right? They're 2 feet on the ground, 2 paws on your body. Sometimes they're excited, sometimes they're peeing, also. You're like, hey, whoa, right? And now, if you train them, right, where you're like up, that's different, completely different. But if they do it on their own, they made that decision on their own, and that was not part of a command that you gave, then that is them handshaking you. A lot of people make the mistake of, they just start petting them. It's like, oh, you're such a good boy. You're acquiescing to them leading, right? So now in their mind, they're like, cool, let's go. I'm leading. We're going to have a party, right? And they want to play, and they start getting into you and nipping on you, right? Do not let your dog do this. Do not let your dog jump on you. Do not let your dog jump on your family. Do not let your dog jump on your friends. Do not let your dog jump on your door. Do not let your dog behave this way. All right. Now, in video 4 and 5, I will give you very concrete tips on how to stop that behavior. All right. But just right now, understand your dog is handshaking you. If you acquiesce during that, then they're going to have a whole list of behaviors that they're going to believe is perfectly fine to do. Now, just understanding how to stop that is going to be your first step in taking all of those behaviors off the table for them logically. All right? They're not even going to want to do it because it's not going to make sense for them to act in those ways towards you. because now they're in follower mode, right? Because you are leading, right? Moving on, we're going to go into rule number 2. Your dog speaks with their entire body. It is best read from tail to head. Once you get very fluent, you're going to be able to read their entire body all at the same time. There is no bark language. Not a thing, right? Not a thing. So it's very important to understand that. And really, when I finally understood it and I could go to a dog park and I'm like, I felt like I was just listening to 100 conversations all at the same time. I was like, I need to make some videos. So that's what these are, right? What I wish existed back when I was learning. So, dogtail, right? So let's go on the basic one. Dogtail, right? Curved up. Actually, I'd like to say one thing about dogtail before I get into that. Have you ever heard the saying, such and such individual wears their emotion on their sleeve? Right? Basically, the indication is that a person, immediately you can tell their emotional state by their face, right? They just can't hide it. If they're angry, you can see it. If they're sad, you can see it. If they're afraid, you can see it. All right. Dogtail is that way. That's why we're starting on dogtail. The first instant reaction a dog you're going to be able to see is their tail is going to have some sort of reaction to stimulus around. All right. So the first dogtail that everyone is familiar with is curved up tail, right? So the higher at the base, right? This is dog butt. At the base, the higher it is, the more excited they are, the curvier it is, the happier they are. It'll start wagging. You know, sometimes it wags so much, it wags in a circle and they're like all over you. So happy dog. Curled up dog tail is happy dog. Wagging, happy dog. All right. So I want to get into a little bit about dogs wagging their tail. Every communication you're going to have with your dog should end with your dog wagging their tail, because it doesn't only mean that they're happy. It could also mean, I understand, I'm on the same page, okay, right? It just means a lot of these positive words, right? So, okay, now we can move on. So, as an example, my oldest, he doesn't really like to get up anymore when he's in bed. Just kind of like lay in bed all the time. So when I come up and I pet him, they have a little, his tail at the very tip, it just wiggles a little bit, where he's happy, saying, okay, I'm happy you pet me, but no, I'm not moving. All right. So he's communicating back to me. So I'm like, cool, you want to stay there? I'm fine, right? Waggy tail, that means we're on the same page. We move on. So every communication you're going to have, you're always going to be paying attention to that tail. All right, because they're going to tell you, okay, yes, I'm on the same page. I understand what you're saying. And boom, you can move on to the next command. All right, you're always going to check for waggy tail. All right, so as we move down on the tail, right, dog butt, tail, you're going to see straight tail. Straight tail is interest. I am interested in what is happening around here. All right. So you have to decide. You're reading interest, right? Look at their eyes. What are they facing? What are they sniffing at? What are they interested in? Is it okay for them to be interested, right? In the backyard, if they're interested in a squirrel, probably okay, right? But at a family gathering, interested in something might not be good. So have you given a correction yet? Have you given a command yet? All right? These are things that you have to put in your mind immediately you start seeing interest. Okay, so a lot of times you'll see interest and a curled up tail. I see that a lot on walks, right? I'm interested, but I'm happy, right? I'm interested in the walk. I'm smelling stuff around, but I'm happy I'm on the walk, so I'm not really doing very much about it. Just interest. Now, dogs do have some dexterity in their tail, right? They about third of the way down, can kind of bend, and also at the very end, about a third of the way before, you can kind of bend there too in different ways. So if your dog starts bending their tail, hunting, very often, an elevated level of interest, right? Boom. Is that okay? In the backyard? Probably, nothing going on. At a dog park? Maybe not. All right? You might have to react. You might have to start giving commands. All right? So pay attention to your dog tail. Is that level of interest okay? All right? So interest right there, elevated interest, straight dog tail. Right? So as we move down with the tail, you're going to see down tail. Right? So down tail and out, bored dog. Right? I'm content, I'm kind of bored, not really doing anything. Dog tail out, just waiting for a command, waiting for whatever to be over, just I am a bored dog, just kind of sitting here, relaxing wherever I am. Right? Perfectly fine in most circumstances. Right? So the next type of tail that you're going to get with down tail is going to be kind of down, but kind of following the leg line, not necessarily underneath them, right? Just kind of following the leg line. That is a dog that is sassing you. It's a dog that potentially anxious or nervous about a situation. You'll get that a lot at the vet's office, kind of down, kind of increased body tension. We'll get into body tension shortly, but a little bit increased body tension, a tense kind of tail. It kind of stays down. It's kind of very hard to kind of pull out. Nervous dog, anxious dog. Is that okay? Right? You have to decide, do I need to start giving commands to get that waggy tail back? All right? So just read your dog, read the situation. Is that okay? Now, the other type of tail, down tail, is going to be tail in between their legs, right? Where there's two times when you're predominantly going to see that type of tail, right? Number one is fear, right? They're afraid. If that's something that you're causing, you need to just check yourself, right? It's like, whoa, am I in the mindset where I'm going to see a happy tail at the end of this conversation, right? If not, then I need to stop what I'm doing because look how scared the dog is. They're not going to learn what I want them to learn, all right? If you're causing that fear, you need to stop what you're doing. However, loud noises can cause it, right? You're on your walk, an 18-wheeler drives by or something, you get scared, tail between their legs. Fireworks, gunshots, stuff like that could also cause that. So just understand, fear, if you're causing it, stop. Otherwise, try to soothe them. I'll give some tips on that in future videos. The other time, well, a little bit more about fear. I actually saw the other day on my walk, the dog was approaching me, so I had to give a little action. She was a female pit bull, and she had fear like instant, right? Because I made a loud noise to kind of get her to stop. And it was kind of still curved. It didn't all go under her leg, but it was still curved. So that is another way sometimes you'll see fear. It's like, boom, like if it was almost under their legs, but it was just like startled. I had not seen that, so I'm bringing that to you here. So curved kind of like that, or all the way into fear, startled, stuff like that. The other time they're going to be under their leg like that is zoomies, right? They're just kind of running in circles or back and forth uncontrollably and tail between their legs. I'll teach you how to deal with that in future videos, but 4 and 5 basically. But for right now, just understand zoomies, right? Fear or zoomies. Zoomies have nothing to do with fear. Just a heads up. All right, now we're moving on to the body. There are 3 things that I really want to explain to you about the body. The first thing that you're going to need to understand about reading your dog's body is read your dog's body tension. Are they flexing, right? Are they ready to pounce, right? Read their body, kind of how their tenseness, right? Are their muscles tensed? Because dog that is hunting, right? And also tense, that's a dog that's made a decision, right? You don't want your dog to make a decision. You want them to follow. They need to be in follower mode. So when was the last time you gave a command? All right? Look to give commands in those situations. All right? So tenseness of the body. Now, it's also very important that this is their language. So understand, they're reading your body tension too, right? And, you know, the tenser you are, the tenser you're going to cause them to be. Because, right, you're supposed to be leading. So they're going to follow your body tension. So in times when you are just like completely, no, you cannot do this right now, dog, you got to check yourself. Because if you want them to follow, you cannot have tension in your body. You need to be nice and calm. So that way you can help them be calm. All right? So just understand. Doesn't matter if you screamed. It's like, no! Check myself. Be calm and just continue the command. All right? They don't get mad at screams and stuff like that. It doesn't offend them. So just understand, body tension is huge for dogs. They're reading your body tension. It's important for you to read their body tension. Stuff like that. Another thing that shows on the body that shows that they've made a decision is hair standing up. Their body is so tense that the hair is reacting to their tension. Some dogs got the top of their body, some the back of their body. Some dogs have their entire body all hair raised. That's a dog that's made a decision. Maybe in the backyard, there's some dogs running on the path. It's okay for them to make a decision there. But if your dog at a family function has their hair raised and you see that, that dog has made a decision. Right? Is that okay? What are they looking at? All right, what are they smelling at? All right, very likely you need to start getting in to do some commands there and change that body tension up a little bit. Make sure their tail's wagging. Get them out of that mindset. All right, so just read your dog. Look at their body tension. Look at their tail. The last thing I'd like to discuss about body is paw. Right, single paw. I already told you about double paw. Right, that's the handshake. But single paw, that can be very sweet. Right, they could just be like you're petting them and they give you a soft paw. You know, they just want you to continue that behavior, right? I love you, continue. Now, another type of paw is harder paw, where they're kind of pawing at you and that hurts, right? Small dogs is probably okay, but bigger dogs, they get, you know, they can put some power behind that. They can kind of expand their paw, kind of put it on you like that. That's a dog that's trying to lead you, all right? They're trying to get your attention and change your behavior, all right? They're trying to lead you. So I'm going to teach you how to deal with that. Just understand soft paw good, hard paw, you need to get in there and start giving some commands, all right? So let's move on to the head, all right? Basic things about the head. Right at the top of the head, you see the tension comes up, the ears come up. Interest. Look at the rest of their body. Look at their eyes. What are they looking at? Did their body tense up? Is their tail pointed? Stuff like that. You can read their entire body and say, okay, this is something I need to deal with. Or, you know, maybe they just were interested in, and then their ears perk up and they start looking, you know, moving their head. Just like humans, whenever you hear something and you move your head and you want to hear it again, you want to get a precise location. They do that a lot, right? Just also ears pinned back. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're hunting or anything. Check their body tension. It could just mean, hey, it's windy. I'm pinning my ears back so I don't get a bunch of wind in them. All right? So don't just look at this area and think, oh, I know everything that's happening. Look at the rest of their body. Check that body tension. Check that tail. Check their eyes. What are they looking at? Is it something to be concerned about? Do I need to start giving commands? All right? So moving on. Dog's eyes. Dogs stare down what they're interested in. They're not trying to hide it. They will just keep looking at it. So check their eyes. You'll be able to see a lot of times what they're interested in, what's got their attention. All right. Moving on. Dog nose and tongue. Similar to dog paw, soft nose, soft tongue. They're just trying to get your attention very respectfully. A lot of the times when you're leading, but they still want to get your attention, they'll softly touch you with their nose, right? A lot of times you'll be walking and all of a sudden you backswing and you feel their nose. You didn't hit that on accident. They are agile enough to miss your backswing, okay? They're trying to get your attention, all right? But in the nicest way they know how, right? Same thing with licking. Soft licks, it's okay. Harder lick, they're trying to, right? If they're starting to nose you really hard to the face or lick you really hard, they're trying to lead you politely. You gotta understand, a lot of these things don't hurt them, right? They roughhouse all the time with each other. Have you ever seen a dog scratching and then trying to put your hand? It hurts. So all of these things that hurt you don't necessarily hurt them. So don't try to ascribe a negative intent on their part if you're feeling these things. Because to them it doesn't hurt. You just have to understand. It hurts you, so you have to talk them out of these behaviors. I'll teach you how to do all that in the next videos. Right now we're learning how to read. So, moving on, I'd like to discuss teeth and biting. All right, so there's 3 primary types of bites. All right, number 1 is an aggressive bite. You know what that is? They try to get as far into their mouth as possible. That way they can use their jaw muscles to come down and kind of rend and tear. Right? I'm not going to say a lot about it because a lot of people have seen the damage that can cause aggressive biting. Right? So the next type of biting I want to get into is called a dominance bite. Right? The goal of a dominance bite is to get your attention, change your behavior. The dominance biting looks like canines onto your skin, quick, just fast and release, fast and release. If it's a dominance bite, they're not going to hold on. That's not their goal, right? Because their goal is to get your attention and change your behavior. Are you putting your hand too close? Dominance bite, right? On, off. It might break your skin, right? It might just be the top. It might just be the bottom. It might break your skin. Doesn't hurt them. It just doesn't, right? They do that to each other all the time. And then even if they break skin and bleed, they're just fine. They walk it off. Okay? So they're not really trying to be mean. Just trying to get your attention, change your behavior. Okay? Dominance bite. Canines into your skin some type of way. All right? The last bite I'm going to discuss is front teeth biting. Right? Or just kind of get you with their front teeth. That is playful. Right? If you ever see 2 dogs kind of roughhousing and playing and they go at each other's necks, they're going with the front of their teeth. Right? That's playful for them. That's enjoyment. To them, that doesn't hurt at all. But to you, it might hurt. Okay? Just understand they're trying to be playful. If they're doing it softly, it's okay. I'll teach you how to stop that behavior, but they're doing it hard. They're trying to lead you. When was the last time you gave a command? Right? Get them out of that mindset. Get them into waggy tail. So that little front teeth bite, it's meant from them to be playful. If it's starting to hurt you, you need to start giving commands. All right? So I'd like to discuss barking and growling a little bit. Whenever they bark or growl, that is emphasis. That is, are you seeing the rest of my body? If you cannot read it, I'm going to make noise so that way you can see that I'm literally yelling at you to see what I'm trying to say. You know, check their body tension, check their eyes. What are they? Check what they're standing in front of. Maybe they're guarding something. All right? So barking and growling, very often, they're trying to say, look what I'm trying to say with all of my body. Why aren't you paying attention? All right? That's why they bark at the fence. Right? They're so happy. They're emphasizing their happiness. Right? So it's really meant for emphasis for what the rest of their body is saying. Barking and growling. Okay? So that is an overview of how to listen to your dog. Next video will be a plan and a pattern for success in dog leadership. My name is Rodney, k9signs.net. Like, subscribe, all of the YouTube things.